If you haven't heard about the Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. The Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you very much. All right, good afternoon, everybody. And thanks for joining me on a special bonus episode of the Gotta Have Heart Wrestling Podcast. I'm Jamal Honus, and I want to talk about another exclusive event here. This would be this will be the only event that would happen in the month of December in the year 2016. Will be called or named WWE Roadblock End of the Line. It will take place on December 18th, 2016 at the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Technically, it was the second roadblock in the event chronology and the second roadblock of the year, as we had one earlier this year in Canada in March of 2016, featuring Dean Ambrose challenging Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That was a pretty decent event. It wasn't too bad, but I think this one served a little bit better as far as this roadblock event goes here. I mean, the pre-show, we did have Rusev with Lana defeat Big Cass with Enzo Amore by countout, of course. This match lasts 4 minutes and 30 seconds here. Well, we know going into the event, we have, matches such as Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, and Chris Jericho, and the main event, Kevin Owens defending the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. This seems like a pretty stacked card here, to say the least here. So I really enjoyed this. Let's go on the list here. First off, we kick off the event with Cesaro and Sheamus challenges the New Day for the Tag Team Champions. This is pretty huge. You wouldn't think of the relationship between Cesaro and Sheamus had really clicked well together. This is where then WWE General Manager Mick Foley wants to experiment to really see how Cesaro and Sheamus will pull off here as a tag team themselves. Mind you, they had a best of seven series that started at SummerSlam prior to that on a kickoff show, in which this whole series lasted all the way up until WWE's Clash of Champions this past September in 2016 here, where both men would not win to get that last final score on the thing. So, what did Mick Foley do? Decided to pair these guys up as a team. And of course, you're going to challenge the New Day. Mind you, the New Day were starting their oversized championship run. Well, not starting, but into their prime as long tag team champions. They had held tag team champions since SummerSlam 2015. That means for the last 16 months, the New Day have dominated all of the tag team division on Monday Night Raw, thus making them probably the top tag team of the new era in WWE. But this match not disappoint here because you think the New Day was unstoppable. Big E, Kofi, and Xavier Woods. Cesaro and Sheamus would ultimately defeat the New Day to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. I was quite shocked here. I did not think these two guys would get together. But if you look what I did, I did a review about the Survivor Series, these 2016 Survivor pay-per-view match, and talked about how well these two worked together as being the final two men to eliminate the Usos in that Raw vs. SmackDown 10-man tag team Survivor elimination matchup. It was pretty impressive how Cesaro and Sheamus worked together here to defeat the New Day. This match lasts 10 minutes and 10 seconds here. Even though they quite have not been getting along yet at that point in their careers, but you gotta admit, this is pretty impressive. This is like Strange Bedfellows win the tag team champion. And mind you, their first try going after the tag team championships. That is pretty impressive itself. Looking forward to going off that. I was really interested in when Cesaro and Sheamus really got into tag team continuity and named themselves later on down the line The Bar. So pretty impressive here, and kudos to Cesaro and Sheamus to working long enough as a cohesive unit to defeat the New Day to become the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. Really pretty cool outcome of that matchup here. All right, next up we have Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman in a 10-minute time limit match. This whole thing, I never knew how it really started out between Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. This you would see this as a Dave versus Goliath matchup, but you see like the underdog good guy versus the colossal bad guy. Colossal being Braun Strowman. The thing is, I really didn't get to Robert as much, but I was so interested to see how Sami Zayn could elevate his game. As good as he was in NXT, having that last match against Shinsuke Nakamura back at NXT TakeOver Dallas on April 1st of 2016. Mind you, he had a good start to his career, competing at WrestleMania in that 7-man Intercontinental Championship ladder match. So let's see what he would do with Braun Strowman here. Luckily, by the grace of God, Sami Zayn did survive the 10 minutes here with Braun Strowman. So, thus making Sami Zayn the winner on pay-per-view against Braun Strowman. I think any athlete that could get a win on a pay-per-view against a man like Braun Strowman deserves a lot of credit. He can even last 10 minutes against Braun Strowman. That's an impressive feat as well. I'm a big Sami Zayn character. I would say this. I did a research about Booker T naming his fave 5 superstars. He picked Sami Zayn as number one. I gotta agree with it only because right now, take a look at Sami Zayn's character, the ultimate bad guy that talks about controversy. Even though he is the reigning defending Intercontinental champion, I really think Sami Zayn is one of the most impressive great athletes in WWE's history, if not the greatest. He plays his character very well. He sticks to what he believes in, and he just wants to feed you more of the information that is surrounding the controversy that's going on right now between him and the WWE. Mostly this though, Braun Strowman. He finally wins his Universal Championship this year from Goldberg at WrestleMania 36 in the Performance Center on April 4th. It's okay to have a big guy plan him to be the world champion and then have him hold the championship for 5 months to lose to the Fiend and then ultimately lose to Roman Reigns a week later. I didn't mind that, but I feel like this was a I don't know, kind of like a flop to pit a guy like Braun Strowman against a guy like Sami Zayn. Rather than Sami Zayn competing against somebody his own size. Don't get me wrong, I love Sami Zayn, but I feel like he should have been in a position to be challenging for the United States Championship, like a Roman Reigns, who was fighting Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. We'll talk about that later on down the line, but Sami Zayn surviving 10 minutes against Strowman is an impressive feat. So kudos to Sami Zayn right there for winning this matchup here and letting people know that he is the underdog from underground. Next up, we got Seth Rollins challenging Chris Jericho here. And Seth Rollins ultimately defeated Chris Jericho in 17 minutes and 5 seconds. We don't know Chris Jericho is the best in the world, no matter what company he's seen in, whether it's ECW, WCW, WWE, and now AEW. There's nobody greater right now in the wrestling industry than Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is at the top of his game. I believe he can have another 5, 10 years and still be at the top of his game as well. The thing is, you got a guy like Seth Rollins, who defeated Brock Lesnar not once but twice in 2019 to become Universal Champion twice. Seth Rollins has carried his company on his back, one of the larger workhorses here. And a guy like Chris Jericho who's never been injured, has never really taken time off unless it has something to do with his band Fozzy. You take a guy like these two, you pin him in the ring. I feel like this is the one of the greater underrated matches that you can ever see here. Chris Jericho works good with anybody. His in-ring skill, his on the mic, he's very charismatic. Chris Jericho has it all. And you take guys like Seth Rollins, the workhorse of WWE here, and pair him with anybody, you're gonna see some amazing stuff out of Seth Rollins, whether it's the Falcon's Arrow, the Blockbuster, or the Curb Stomp, or even Triple H's move the pedigree. Seth Rollins makes it work to a perfection to where he can say he can literally give anybody a great match and run for their money. So at this time in his career, you feel like Seth Rollins was evolving into a main event star. Not that he already was the previous year 2015, but 2016 he was literally getting back into that mountain. And Chris Jericho here, who's had an impressive year in 2016 also, being Kevin Owens' running buddy, his mate, or whatever some sort here. And he put these two guys together. I loved it. I would actually give this match a 4 out of 5 stars, only because how amazing that Chris Jericho and Seth Rollins work well together. I loved it every single step of the way here. So for Seth Rollins to defeat a legend like Chris Jericho, it was a pretty big win for Seth Rollins heading into the future with this storyline rivalry against Triple H right afterward. So this match, I would say, is a pretty good match, an impressive match to be on the pay-per-view as well. Next up, we will have Rich Swann defending the Cruiserweight Championship against D. Brian Kendrick and T.J. Perkins. Now, this time WWE career, you know that the 205 Live, when it was on the show, but you still had the Cruiserweight division as part of the Monday Night Raw here. let me tell you this much. Not many cruiserweights get the attention that they deserve here, and I might do a podcast on the cruiserweights in the future. But the thing is, you gotta appreciate the cruiserweights because, again, even though they are 205 pounds and under, and they can fly around the ring and do some of the most amazing things that regular heavyweights or super heavyweights cannot do. The cruiserweight is its own division. That's why when they announced the show 205 Live on the WWE Network that premiered after Survivor Series in 2016, I was really impressed to see watch what the cruiserweights can do on their own turf. And kid you not, the cruiserweights have impressed me. I'm pretty sure millions and millions of people around the world to see that they can do that. They can hold their own on their own show every Tuesday night at that time. I was really into the cruiserweight division here because you got a guy like Rich Swann. Rich Swann right now in real life is the Impact Wrestling champion. That's amazing. I think let go from WWE in 2017, and then referring all the way to Impact Wrestling earlier this year to come in and win the Impact Wrestling World Championship. That is freaking amazing. Chris Swan has had a successful career jump than anybody 205 pounds and under within a long time. Rich Swan, I believe, is the future of wrestling in that case. And you take a guy like D. Brian Kendrick. D. Brian Kendrick has starred in so many names, even as Spanky when he first came to WWE SmackDown back in '03. You might think it'll be Little Sky who gets beat up a lot, but mind you, D. Brian Kendrick has won the records of becoming the longest reigning SmackDown Tag Team Champions for 11 months with his former partner Paul London. Paul London also another great athlete here too. But D. Brian Kendrick, this guy can do a lot. He's amazing. He's like the cruiserweight veteran that has been here the longest. Even if you go back and watch the Unforgiven 2008 event, the WWE Championship Scramble, Brian Kendrick pinned Triple H to become the current WWE champion. So don't take that away from Paul London. He even is a WWE champion, even though it was for a couple of minutes. But Brian Kendrick can say he was a WWE champion in his career. It's very impressive. And you got a guy like TJ Perkins, TJP. I love impressive. Mind you, he won the Cruiserweight Classic and became the first ever Cruiserweight Classic winner. Well, the only one, mind you. At that time, Cruiserweight is so big that when they had that tournament in the summer of 2016 there, this got a lot of attention on TJP, the winner of that tournament, and the first ever WWE's Cruiserweight champion at that time. So you get all three of these guys in a triple threat matchup, you can see some amazing things here. We saw a lot of high flying around. Rich Swann hitting that I think was a leaping jump 450 slash, which that damn move, oh man, the way anybody does that move was so damn impressive. I was in awe. Like, how the hell does this guy do it? And he did to win, not win, but to retain his career championship in 6 minutes exactly. This was a really tough match. Even though the match was short, but that was the most exciting 6 minutes I've ever saw from three wrestlers in a triple threat matchup on pay per view. So not only which one was keeping the championship, but kudos to Brian Kendrick, TJP as well. Really done surreal. I loved it. I really did. Next up on the event, we had a 30-minute Iron Woman match for the Raw Women's Championship here. We got Charlotte Flair challenging Sasha Banks for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Mind you, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks in their prime. Right now, they're the best years that haven't even been seen. They're the best years that still held them in their career. Mind you, Sasha Banks was already in the third Women's Iron match previously before this barely in NXT's TakeOver. Respect. Back in September, I think October of 2015. We saw how that match went. Pretty damn awesome. Bayley won that match for the championship. This is the second one, the only second women's Iron Man match in that history. You got Charlotte. Charlotte Flair was undefeated on pay per view at that time. A astounding record. I think 11-0, 12-0, something like that. In a pay per view quality. No woman has ever really gotten undefeated like that on pay per view since Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is the daughter of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Charlotte Flair is one of the most athletic women in WWE's history. I still to this day will say she is the most athletic woman in WWE's history. And you take a woman like Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is from a different breed. But she's from that breed that she works hard. She's a champion. She won the championship by defeating Charlotte Flair in a Falls Count Anywhere match on Monday Night Raw prior to the pay-per-view event to win the championship. That is pretty damn surreal. It's pretty damn cool to see it. So when we take these two amazing, gifted women and pit them for 30 minutes, set the clock in an Iron Women's matchup, you're going to see some magic here. The score was 2-2. And then had 30 minutes had run out, referee will rule that this will go into a sudden death. So with Charlotte Flair getting the overtime, hitting the natural selection, getting that 1, 2, 3, and defeating Sasha Banks to become the new Raw Women's Champion, it's pretty damn surreal. Also, a night of title changes as well. We've already seen the Tag Team Championship change, now we see the Raw Women's Championship change. But this match will go on for 30 minutes, with the 4 extra minutes of 4 minutes and 45 seconds here. I gotta say, this is pretty good. It was ultimately the longest match of the night because it was an Iron Women's matchup, but still, this is really one of the most impressive matches here. So by far, I loved seeing this. I loved seeing these two women go at it in this Iron Women's matchup here. It was pretty surreal to see these two go head to head, and I loved it. I hope one day we get to see more Iron Women's matches, because we do see all the men's Iron Man matches, but I would want to see another Iron Women's matchup, maybe 1 to 2 or 3 more in the future here. This is the kind of match that WWE needs to showcase, especially for women's division. You got the Hell in a Cell, you got the women's ladder matches, cage matches. It's cool. But Iron matches is really how you're gonna elevate different women that needs to be pushed to the top. So Charlotte Flair defeating Sasha Banks on pay-per-view for the third time this year at SummerSlam, Hell in a Cell, and at Roadblock. Pretty impressive here. All right, we'll move towards the main event. Kevin Owens defending the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. Mind you, Roman Reigns is the current United States champion heading to this matchup here. Let me tell you about some of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, this is how cool he is. I think Kevin Owens is one of the most coolest guys that we've history. I still think he is. Even adopting his Stone Cold Stunner, so damn cool. I love Kevin Owens. I cannot say this much. Kevin Owens arrives at NXT at TakeOver in December 2014. I think he defeats Rhino that night. They goes on to see his best friend Sami Zayn win the World Championships from, I think, Bo Dallas, who was a reigning champion. And then you think he's going to congratulate his best friend Sami Zayn. He takes him up and powerballs him with the pop-up powerbomb on the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring, the ring apron. And then 2 months later, at the other takeaway event in February 2015, defeats Sami Zayn to become the new NXT champion. I can run down a lot of Kevin Owens' accomplishments because from there, he debuts Monday Night Raw as a challenge for U.S. Championship, lays out Cena, goes to WWE Elimination Chamber in 2015, defeats Cena in his first WWE match, aka his first match in WWE's history. He can say he has defeated and pinned the United States champion John Cena at that time. How many people can say they've done that? Not many. Or I think no that I can remember. So it's pretty cool to see what Kevin Owens could do here. Even though he lost the championship to Finn Balor in Japan on the 4th of July that day, he was going to beat guys like Cesaro. He even defeated Ryback to become the current championship at Night Champion in 2015. Like, this guy, Kevin Owens, is on a different level. You saw what he did at WrestleMania in that ladder match. So impressive. Now, he was forming a tag team with Chris Jericho here. They got their win against Enzo and Cass at SummerSlam. He was the Universal Champion a week later after Finn Balor had to give it up due to an injury, that tore apart his shoulder. Wins that night. And uses Chris Jericho to help him obtain the championship at Clash of Champions, Hell in a Cell. Even competed in the Survivor Series men's traditional elimination matchup, Raw vs. SmackDown. So I think Kevin Owens' championship reign was pretty damn cool. It really was. I love Kevin Owens. In this matchup, he was really fairly impressive against Roman Reigns here. But ultimately, because of Chris Jericho's interference, which we thought Chris Jericho had seen the light of him being Kevin Owens' lackey, but we thought he was going to come to the ring and help Roman Reigns. He hits KO with the code breaker, but here's the twist. Getting the disqualification of Kevin Owens and making Kevin Owens the winner via disqualification here, which I thought was in shock. I was kind of in shock, but I kind of expected it to go down with. They're not going to pick Chris Jericho as babyface. They're going to keep him as heel Kevin Owens. It was smart. I commend that if you're doing smart on this. But at least Kevin Owens get the last laugh. Seth Owens came out, helped his brother in arms, Roman Reigns, hit that shield powerbomb through the table just to go off the end of the event. So even though people would rate Roadblock End of Line 2016 as an underrated event, I personally liked it and I personally enjoyed it also, just because of the matches that showcased that night. And being that it was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, it doesn't get much better than that, because people are not going to see the same superstars every single or twice a month on pay-per-view. They want to see them mix up it. Let SmackDown showcase their own, let Raw showcase their own. So this was a great debut for Raw superstars to see here, and the cruiserweights. You can't forget about the cruiserweights to showcase their own on pay-per-view level like this. I thought the pay-per-view was really good, and so surreal here that I can't wait for next month. I think the next one was Fastlane, I believe, but yeah, it's pretty damn cool here. It's a pretty good night for Monday Night Raw superstars here, and really good pay-per-view, man. I enjoyed it all the way. Well, thank you guys for listening to this bonus episode on my podcast, Gotta Have Heart Wrestling. I'm giving one lucky fan a winner of my T-shirt. I'm gonna pick out that one lucky fan. I'm trying to get T-shirts. I'm trying to sell them out there so you guys can maybe if I can make a website or shop that you guys can purchase it from, that'd be really cool. I want to give back more to the community. Thank you guys. Amy and I put up a status on Twitter about my 500 plays of my podcast on the Anchor app. And it's pretty cool here. I love it. I love doing this, guys. And I'm going to continue to do more and more down the line. I'm going to run with this as long as I can until I give out, which won't be anytime soon. So, thank you guys for listening to this bonus episode of my podcast. And wait for me to talk about the next one. I'm not giving out any hints to what I'm going to talk about this upcoming Wednesday. You're just going to have to see it for yourself. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good night.